Hello, all my wonderful friends. I have missed y'all, but tonight I have decided. Y'all know I've told you this before. Anytime I'm ever away, whenever I get back, I like just a good home cooked meal. And so I have decided on lasagna soup. You know, I love Italian, I love pasta, and I have made this one time before, maybe twice. I don't really have a recipe for it, but it's very simple. So let me show you what I got going here. So I have, this was a little over a pound of ground beef, or no, actually this was ground chuck, and so it didn't have much fat in it at all. I was able to do the paper towel method and just swipe around in there. And so now we're going to add in our vegetables. I have about half of an onion, a piece of bell pepper, and a few mushrooms. I still had these in my fridge and they were still good, so I'm going to throw those in there. That's optional though. Y'all know how I am. I like to use what I have, so that's why no recipe I ever make is ever the same. Because I throw a little of this and a little of that. So we're just going to toss those in. Whoops, lost the mushroom. And let those soften up a little bit. I'm going to try to get some of this out of the way here so I can get y'all up here closer. Anyway, I have missed y'all. Me and Bella went to visit Jay, my boyfriend, and he lives a few hours away. And so we enjoyed that. We didn't really do anything extravagant, just relaxed and eat a lot of food. And we enjoyed it. Bella loves him. She does not take to many guys. Like when my boys would bring their friends over, you know, over the years, she didn't ever take to the boys very much. I don't know if whenever she was abused it was a man or what it was, but now she loves Jay. And she just loves on him, gives him all my sugar and everything. But I wouldn't have it no other way. Alright, so what I'm going to do, y'all, I'm going to let these veggies soften up a little bit. Let me go ahead and put some garlic in. So I'm thinking, now you can use fresh or this or powder, whatever you want to do. But we're going to do a big old spoonful, okay? And I'm just going to let this cook down for a second, and then I'll come back and we're going to start mixing this thing up. Okay, y'all, let's add in a few of our spices. Now, I'm going to use a jar sauce, but I'm going to be putting in a can of stewed tomatoes. I put these in here and kind of crush them up a little bit. And then we're going to be putting in some broth and all that. So we're going to add some extra spice. That way we don't dilute our flavor, okay? Now, if you don't want to add in all these different spices, you could always just do some Italian seasoning if you want to go that route. Either way will be fine. But just depending on how much extra stuff you add, aside from your jar sauce, just kind of just eyeball it about how much you might need to add. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is about... I'm going to do about 1/4 of a teaspoon of, this is ground oregano. You can use the oregano leaves too. And then I'm going to do the same amount of ground thyme, about 1/4 of a teaspoon. That's just going to keep it from losing all that flavor once we put it in there. And then just a few crushed red pepper. Let's see. Maybe about 1/8 teaspoon of these. I don't want it hot, but I like the little spice. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, we're going to need to do a pinch of sugar, a pinch, just to help from putting those tomatoes and stuff in there. Let's see, that'll be enough. Because we're also going to add in some white wine vinegar. Y'all know I like to always add that in my meat sauce or Italian dishes. Just sprinkle some in. Now, if you don't have this, totally fine. You can make it without it. It'll be just as good. I just always put it in there. And then I'm going to do some parsley, but I'm going to do that later. So let's see. Let's go ahead and add in, I think that's all in the seasons. Let me think. We got our garlic, oregano, thyme. I'm going to throw in a bay leaf. We have our crushed red pepper. I think that's about it. Okay, now I'm going to throw in this can of crushed tomatoes. Okay. I'll tell you what else I'm gonna do. I hadn't done this before, but you know, I've told y'all before about these roasted red bell peppers. They're so good. So I got out about 2 of those, diced them up, and I'm gonna throw those in there. Now that's just where from the roast on them. They have those little black pieces on them. But they're really good, and they add a lot of flavor to your dishes. Alright, get that good mixed up. Now, let's add in our jar of sauce. You can use any kind you want, or you can do it, well, you can do it completely homemade. Dang. Alright, I'm going to put this whole jar in. Alright, and then I have some beef broth over here. Now, I'm going to use beef broth for my liquid in this. I had this open in the fridge. I need to use it. You can use beef or chicken, whichever one you want. You know, I like both of them, so I usually just do what I have. Alright, throw that in there. Alright. Let's give this a mix and see where we're at. Now this is a delicious soup. I've not had this in a while, so I'm really excited for it. And I don't remember how I made it before, so every time is a new adventure. All right, so I'm gonna put some beef broth in. I don't know how much, so I'm gonna use this so we can kind of have an idea. Let's see. And we poured a little bit in that jar. I'd say in that jar I maybe poured about 1/4 of a cup. Looks like this is going to be right at 2 cups. So let's see. Give that a mix. Okay. And we're going to go ahead. I think we're going to do this 2 cups, okay? Because we're going to let this sit here and simmer for a bit. Now what I'm going to do is throw in a bay leaf. Let's see. Just 1, I think. It'll be fine. I try to always find the ones that's not broken. That's a pretty good one. We'll do that. Okay, and then I don't think, I guess I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. That broth has a lot of salt in it, but we're going to still add a little bit. And then we can taste it and see if we need to add more. Anyway, I hope everybody's been doing good. I was anxious to get back on here and see all y'all. I don't think I've been away from on here this long in a while, so I was like, oh no, I've got to get home and get back to all my friends. Okay, so y'all can see that's pretty thin, but this is I'm going to let this sit here, slow cook. I have my noodles over here soaking. Now, if you're a new follower, and you've never seen any of my other lasagna videos, let me show you what I do. So I take my lasagna noodles and I just put them, tonight I used my 9x13 casserole dish. I laid them in there and just put hot water on there. And then I just lay the lid over it. Doesn't have to be tightly covered. Just lay something over it, kind of help keep that heat in. And I just let them sit there and soak. And then this is how they get. They get really flimsy like this, and they're so much easier to work with instead of doing the pre-boil or do you not boil. I like to do halfway. Like these are not done, but we will only have to put these in the soup for a few minutes. So what I like to do, it's hard to break lasagna noodles. If you've ever tried it, they're zigzagged and all over the place. So that's why I like to do this method, especially for this soup. So let me show you what I like to do. All you have to do, after you get them soft like that, take your kitchen scissors and just cut them. Just like this, and then you have those perfect pieces for your soup. See? There they are. Now they're in bite-sized pieces. I'm just going to, while this is slow cooking, that's what I'm going to do. Is get all these cut up. And what I like to do whenever I first got in here in the kitchen, before I started anything, I went on ahead and put those in the hot water so they could be soaking, and that way you're not rushed. And all you do is put them in there. I usually do a little bit of olive oil and salt just like I would do if I was boiling them, just to help them from sticking together and get that little bit of flavor in there. And then I'll kind of rotate them around, get the ones off the bottom and, mix them around just like you would if they were cooking. Y'all see this I got sticking up right here, straight up. Lord have mercy. But anyway, I'm going to cut this pasta up, let this slow cook, and we'll come back, and I'm going to taste this here in a minute and make sure I got all my seasons good. But anyway, I'll be back. Okay, y'all, look at our delicious sauce here. This is smelling so good, I cannot wait. So now what I'm going to do, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and add in some parm. I wish I had some fresh, but this is all I got. So I'm thinking maybe a lot. Just however much you want. You can do anywhere from 1/4 of a cup to 1/2 cup, just whatever your preference is. I love parm, so I always add a lot. All right, so we got that in there, and then we're going to go ahead now and add our parsley. I'm thinking we're going to do about, let's see, about a tablespoon of parsley, okay? Give or take, whatever your preference is on that too. All right, I'll get that mixed around. And now we're going to add in our lasagna noodles. So here I got them all cut up, and I cut them up in 2 different shapes. So I did some like I showed y'all in little strips like this, and then some of the other ones I took the lasagna and cut it straight down the middle, and then I cut some of them in little squares like this. So that way we have 2 different sizes. So we're just going to toss these in, and they're all sticky and stuff right now, and that's perfectly fine. It's going to take care of itself once it gets in here. Just, it's like any time you add in pasta, whether it be in water or something like this, after you get it in there, give it a good stir, mix it all around, and we may have to add more broth, and that's fine. I just always wait until I get that in there to kind of see where we're at. If you need more liquid, you can always add more broth. If you feel like it's too thin, I always try to keep tomato paste on hand for stuff like that, because it's perfect for these kind of dishes to thicken stuff up, okay? So let me get you down here so you can see. So we're just going to mix these around and make sure we kind of get all those noodles separated. Now I don't know, we may not have to add any more broth yet. We'll just wait, because this is a thicker base soup. You don't want it to be too thin. So that 2 cups may be just enough. Well, and we did the 1/4 of a cup that we put in the jar, but let's see. So yeah, just kind of try to separate them. They're kind of trying to stick. All right, I'm just going to let this sit here. I'm not going to add any more broth or anything right now. I'm just going to let this simmer for a little bit, because those noodles will soak up some of that liquid. So we will just look at that in a minute. So I'm just going to let this hang out, and I'll come back. We'll do the next step. Okay, one last step for our soup. And the only thing that I have done different since I was on here and put the pasta in was I did end up adding another 1/2 cup of beef broth. And now I feel like that's the perfect texture that I would like to have it, but it's all about whatever you want to have, because you want to have a little bit of liquid left, because as it sits, it's still going to absorb that liquid, the pasta will. Okay, let's see. All right, so the only other thing we're going to add is a little bit of heavy whipping cream. Not much, because I like for mine to still be a really red sauce, so I don't like to get it too light, but we're going to put in just a little bit, and I don't know how much, so I'm going to pour it in this cup here so I can tell y'all for sure. All right, so that is, let me look, I'm on the wrong side here. This is about 1/3 of a cup, so let's try that, and then we'll see if we need to do more. And after I put this, after I put the pasta in here, y'all, I I just let it come up to a slow simmer because you do not want your pasta to stick, and it doesn't take that long to cook it. You just have to let it just cook for just a little bit, and you don't want it to come up to a boil. Yep, that's enough for me. Now, if y'all want to add more, you can, but to me, that's perfect. 1/3 of a cup. Now, the only thing I'm going to do is just put the lid back on here, let this sit for just a few minutes, and then I'll come back and we're going to serve it up. All right, let's bowl some of this up. I'm using one of my new little soup bowls, you know, like I showed y'all the other day. I just love these. And look, they come with this little lid. These are oven safe, microwave safe. I love them. I'm so thankful that she sent these to me. They will be perfect for the winter. All right, so like I said, I just, after I mix that heavy cream in, I just let it sit here and simmer for another few minutes, and that's it. That's all we gotta do. And you don't want to cook your noodles. You don't want to cook this until they're just falling apart, because, you know, once you turn this off, it's still really hot, and they're going to continue to cook. So make sure whenever you turn it off, you still have a little bit of texture left with your pasta, okay? Now, if you like them like that, then yes, please do that. But if you don't, then you'll want to hold off for a little bit. Oh man, look at this, y'all. How does that look? I'm telling you what, this is gonna be good. All right, so how I like to serve mine. Now, you want to do a dollop of ricotta on here, you can. I can take ricotta or I can leave it. It's not one of my favorites. I do put it on my actual normal lasagna whenever I make it, but just a little bit. So I didn't have any, so I didn't buy any just for this, because I knew I wouldn't use it before it expired. So you can put whatever you want on there. And I know a lot of people like cottage cheese on their lasagna. Now that may be good too, but I like it just like this. I do the parm, and then I do some mozzarella here that I have shredded up. And then that is all that I put on mine. Well, let's see. I guess we can do a little bit of parsley for some color. That makes it look pretty. Now we're going to have to taste this. It's so hot. And you can serve this with salad, garlic bread, all of that good stuff too, but I didn't do any of that. I'm just going to have it just like this. I'd love to have some good garlic bread with this. It'd be really good. Some good crunchy little pieces of garlic bread, but I don't need those carbs, y'all know. Let's see here. Let's see if we can get a bite of this out. Bella was in here just a second ago. She come in here and she went out. Now she's run back in there. I'm telling y'all, she has figured this thing out. She gets her a little nap. And then whenever she smells food's done, she perks up and comes in here. I mean, she come running in here just right as I turned the camera off just a second ago. And then she went out, and now she's went back in there. Ooh. This is so good, y'all. I don't know why I don't make this more often. It's just one of those things I forget about, but goodness. You talk about good. You will love this. It's like an easy way to have lasagna because it tastes just like it, but just a little bit more liquid to it and a lot easier. This was all done in one pot, as y'all seen, and quick, easy. If y'all have never made lasagna soup, make it. You will love it, especially if you love this Italian dishes, or if you love lasagna, you love pasta, you love red sauce, all that stuff like I do. This is a hit all day long. But anyway, y'all, I'm going to get off of here. Me and Bella, we're going to eat this and get in the bed. We are wore out from that drive today. But anyway, I can't wait to get back in here this week, and I'll be seeing all of y'all. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.